Hi, my name's Rob Scott, and in this session, I'll be speaking to Zeus Caravella, who is the founder and principal analyst at ZK Research. Welcome, Zeus. How's things?
It's great, Rob, but as good as it can be. You know, we're plodding along here, hoping that we get back to somewhat normal this year. But things are pretty good, though. I've got no complaints.
Good, good. Yeah, I hope so too.
Yeah.
I must say, quick congratulations. How does it feel to be Time Magazine Man of the Year, or was it eWeek Top 10 Technology Analyst of the Year?
Yeah, I think it was. I heard I was second for Time Man of the Year, so that didn't happen. But I was one of the top 10 most quoted analysts according to Apollo Research, which is what eWeek referred to. And I was in some good company with folks like Pat Moorhead and Rob Enderle and other people like that I know pretty well, Ray Wang and stuff. So it's nice to be recognized. It's a lot of work sometimes, this job, but those things do come up, and the recognition's nice. So.
Yeah, well, huge congratulations. It is nice indeed to be recognised. So,
yeah. Hey, well, thanks for the mention. I appreciate
it. No problem. Hey, today we said we're talking about Cisco's latest acquisition of IMImobile and what it means for the Cisco CX strategy. So, in fact, Cisco announced 3 acquisitions in December, didn't they? So, shortly after IMImobile came Slido, the audience interaction platform. And I think then it was Dashbase, the analytics business. So, my first question, I suppose, is with the collaboration division and the Webex brand being largely at the center of Cisco's business communication strategy, I was keen to understand, first of all, from you, Zeus, are these acquisitions linked in any way? What's your take?
Well, obviously, IMImobile was more a contact center offering. Slido is really more, you think of traditional UC. But I do think those two worlds are coming together, Rob. If you look, most of the UCaaS vendors now have both contact center and UCaaS, right? So those two are coming together. I think we're going to see a rise. There's been already a rise in the use of AI for audio capabilities, right? Sentiment analysis on the contact center side. You and I being able to even being able to put up names on screens, translation purposes, transcription purposes. I think video AI is actually going to be one of the next kind of big areas, and Cisco's been working on that as well. So the two are kind of tied together. IMImobile really is more contact center though, and that is to help capture a lot of the mobile interactions. In fact, I think if you think of traditional contact centers, they were built around the concept that people call from their landlines into a contact center, and you lose a lot of the things that you can do off a mobile phone, even messaging, social media, emails, things like that. And so I think given how mobile-centric the world has become, the ability to capture all the data, capture all the information off these mobile devices, these things are pretty popular now. I think that's what IMImobile is meant to do, is just really pull in that huge chunk of data that people use their phones for and be able to help contact center agents and businesses. Really, it's not just contact center agents anymore. It's anybody that's customer facing. It includes salespeople, inside sales, field service, marketing people. In fact, that's been one of the interesting trends to watch as people have moved contact center to the cloud. As they do that, they give additional seats, not just to contact center agents, but to a lot of other people. Really, anybody with a Salesforce.com seat now has access to contact center, and IMImobile helps it a lot.
Yeah, it's really interesting, isn't it? And so, I mean, we didn't say we'd talk too much about the Dashbase acquisition, but that's analytics as well, isn't it? So, are we likely to see the Dashbase acquisition coming into this kind of CX proposition?
Yeah, they bought a company called CloudCherry a little while ago as well, which did more survey kind of analytics. I think though. That if you look at the trends in the industry, Rob, there was back in 2015, both Gartner and Walker Group issued reports stating that by 2020, customer experience would become the #1 brand differentiator. And that pivot happened in 2018. So for a few years now, companies have been trying to figure out a way to service the customer more. And that is more than training your agents, more than creating a new in-store experience. It really comes down to, can you harness the power of the data that you're collecting off your contact center and really all your customer facing systems, and find those key insights, those ahas, right? You think of the way Amazon works, right? How good their suggestive selling is and things like that. if you buy this, you should buy this, right? So all companies now are trying to figure out ways of finding those key insights to change customer experience. And so that's where the Dashbase acquisition comes into play. It's an analytic platform that helps companies find those key insights in the data. And I know a lot of organizations have really good data scientists, but the volume of data being created today is so large that I just don't think people can do it anymore. Perhaps if you hired Spock or something, maybe he could look at the data and figure out how to what it means. But we don't, as far as I know, we don't have an alliance with the Klingon or the Vulcan Federation yet. So we'll use AI, and that can help us find a lot of those ahas in the data that can help us change the way we interact with customers. And this has got to be a top initiative for companies, because we are. One thing COVID did is it made everybody a lot more mobile and web centric, right? So we're dealing with companies in different ways, and those organizations that can find a way to harness that data will win. And just to give you one interesting data point from my research, last year, 2/3 of millennials admitted they changed loyalties to a brand because of a single bad experience, right? So the stakes today are high, and it's these AI platforms that are going to help us close the gap and pass our competitors.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really interesting stuff. I mean, in the press release, it stated that IMImobile acquisition will further develop Cisco's vision to create a customer experience as a service offering, or comprehensive customer experience as a service offering. So what do they mean by customer experience as a service, and how does that differ from CCaaS?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, because you could look at the two as the same thing, but they are different. I think CCaaS is contact center as a service, and that's providing all the tools that a business needs to interact with the customer base. So an omni-channel contact center lets contact center agents deal with customers over the phone, over the web, through chat, through mobile, through email, things like that. But it doesn't fundamentally change customer experience. It maybe lets the agent be a little smarter, maybe it lets the agent be a little more proactive and things. But I think what customer experience as a service is, it's that way of transforming the way you interact with the customer, through a cloud-based service, which is what Cisco has built. So I think it takes, you can almost think of CCaaS as being a subset of CXaaS, right? So it's the tools that are needed, but then you need a lot of change in process. You need AI, you need recommendation engines, you need a whole bunch of other stuff to get the contact or the customer experience as a service. So think of it as a superset of CCaaS.
Got it.
Yeah.
And so is Cisco's Webex Contact Center where all the investment is going right now? And is Webex Contact Center Cisco's new CX silver bullet, would you say?
It's not where all the investment's going. Obviously, if you look at the company, they've got a lot of investment going into Webex. In fact, they just have a new branding campaign, hashtag all new Webex, with a bunch of features. But certainly they're putting more time, more resources into contact center than I've ever seen this company. I think they understand the importance of it. One of the things that Cisco has always done well, all the way back to the John Chambers days, is they capture market transitions very well, right? So they tend to hop into markets at the right time. And I think this is the right time for them to really try and establish this. I think if you it's fair to say they were behind in cloud contact center, but we've already got well-established vendors there. So for Cisco to hop in with another Me Too offering, I don't think they'd really have a lot of success, other than maybe trying to attach it to Webex. But with Webex Contact Center being a CX platform, that's the transition that's happening. That's going to create new opportunities for competitiveness, and that's the transition that they're trying to hit. So I think the timing around this coincides with this pivot to more focus on CX. And so, is it a silver bullet? That's hard to say, right? They've got a long way to go from here. There's a lot of other competitors out there, but certainly this is the best opportunity they've had in contact center, really in probably a decade.
Yeah, but we must have. They have been hugely successful in the on-prem world, haven't they? In contact center.
Yes. Yeah, and so it's converting that base. But if you're going to convert that base, it's got to be more than just, what you don't want to do is convert the base and give them, roughly the same functionality. Because why convert, right? So, and this has been a big thing when you look at the adoption of cloud contact center up market. it hasn't been very high. Most large enterprises tend to want to keep their stuff on-prem. But I think over time, in fact, when you think of the attitude of a lot of large enterprises, they look at the cloud as risky. And if you think of the trends coming in with CX as a service, things like AI capabilities and big data analytics, right? That's stuff that's very difficult to do on-prem. So we may get to a period of time over the next couple of years where it's riskier to stay on-prem than it is to move to the cloud. And that would be a big mindset change. And so I think Cisco does have a big install base, and what they're doing with Webex Contact Centers to migrate that, but they will also use it as a way of capturing new customers, I believe.
Yeah, thanks, Sis. It's always really interesting talking to you. And I know the Cisco puzzle has got lots of pieces, but you are the go-to man for helping us work that out. So thanks very much for your time today. It's really good to see you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And this is an ever, fast-changing market. It's going to be really exciting. I think the one thing the pandemic did was let companies almost take a step back and take a look at what they offered and focus, more on some of the near-term R&D, to help their customers get through this transition. So this has been when we look back at this period of time, Rob, I do think that we'll have seen the vendor community really step up and orient their products in a way that's set up for the, whatever the post-pandemic world looks like. Yeah,
indeed. And I did promise you would plug your new video podcast. Do you want to tell us about that? How do we, what
sure.
are you covering?
I actually started this. Yeah, I started this at the end of last year. I did a video podcast series called the 12 Days of Cloudmas, right? Where I interviewed 12, well, actually it wound up being 14. There was 12 days plus 2 bonus days, where I interviewed 14 thought leaders from cloud collaboration companies, just about a topic of their choice. It was meant to be kind of fun, but I had called it my Cloudmas series. But that kicked off the Zcast podcast series. So if you go to YouTube, search Zcast, search my name, you'll see it come up. So if you're watching this, have a look. There's lots of good content there. I try and cover a lot of the current events. In fact, the one I just did talks about Cisco's Webex, the all-new Webex plus Zoom hitting 1 million phones. So have a look, and please, when you do, subscribe to it. And there's lots of good content coming this year.
Yeah, thanks, Sis. We'll definitely, we'll put a link in the description for everyone as well.
Yeah.
And that's it for me. I'm Rob Scott. Thanks for watching.